Hello everyone, my name is Anders Gill. I'm a technical evangelist working for the DX division in Microsoft Norway. And today I'll be talking about how Azure enables time tracking. And it's important to say one thing, one disclaimer. Azure does not do the time tracking for you, okay? That's important. But you can use Azure to actually use it as a platform for time tracking. And that's what I'll show you guys how you can do today. So, whatever I'm going to show you today happened during a 4-day Hackfest back in September in 2016, where we had some participants. The company that we work with was Norsk Tid, the developer from Norsk Tid named Øystein Gregers Lindbjørn. And we also had some help from Microsoft, actually, from the DX division in Belarus named Anton Shunkov. And I'm also appreciative for the help that I got for this demo that I will show you later on from Tobias Kulblik, who is a Norwegian MSP lead in Norway. So, first off, what's the customer problem space? What's the business? So, Norsk Tid, they actually develop state-of-the-art software for time tracking and time allocation for budgeting purposes, for project time tracking, for vacation days, hours worked on a project, so on and so forth. So it's safe to say that Norsk Tid, they know how to track time, all right? But there are some things that they need help with. One of the things were that they essentially were facing two issues: acknowledging the fact that a user is actually registering hours from a location where he actually is at the moment. So if you have a text field and you can write, okay, I'm at build, and I'm actually just sitting at home chilling, that wouldn't be the same, right? Then I'm not really working, is it? So acknowledging that was one of the main issues. And also delivering live notifications, notifying the users, the employees of a manager that, hey, this is some information that I need to send to you. Of course, you can send it by email, but it's so much cooler to actually do by notification because it's quick, and it's not like, okay, so he has to see it. So those were the two main issues that we had. And we worked with that on a real-world scenario, but we managed to do a couple of implementations for that. So for the customer-facing project, we did actually a geolocation part based on the GPS sensors in a telephone. And we also implemented a notification system to be able to provide and notify the people who wants to be notified and needs to be notified. And we also implemented a widget just for ease of use of the application, so you don't have to manually open up the application, start it, and start to track hours all the time. And also, we actually did a lot of DevOps during those 4 days as well. I won't be talking too much about DevOps though, but we did continuous integration, continuous deployment, and automated tests with Xamarin Test Cloud, and so on and so forth. And here you can see on the right side an architectural image of how the DevOps pipeline was built. So, for instance, you have a developer from Norsk Tid. He commits some code to the Bitbucket, which is then again connected to the Visual Studio Team services for compilation, and it runs the tests. And then again, it gets sent over to Xamarin Test Cloud. And if the test passes, it gets sent over to Hockey App, which then again distributes the app to the beta testers. All right, so that's the whole fully fledged pipeline for the DevOps part. But for the customer-facing application, however, we had a two-phase side. We had a proof of concept, which you can see on the right side here, which is the architectural image. And then on the left side, we actually have the main thing that's actually in production right now. And that's actually, Norsk Tid has an agent installed on-premise at the customer's location, which is then again connected to the customer database, which has all the location information with longitude and latitude. And the agent is then again connected to the Azure Function Service, which gives the latest versions of that agent. And that agent is then again connected to the Android app, which is then again connected to Firebase or Google Cloud Messaging, and then to the Azure Notification Hub handler. So we thought, okay, let's actually make a proof of concept how we can actually deliver on-the-fly messages, as well as acknowledging whether a user is actually at the premise where he is saying he is. So we made a proof of concept where we had a web app in Azure, simple API with the location inside it. And we connected that to Android app, where we had then again connected that API to the notification hub. And every time a user actually stepped inside the office building, a message would be put on the storage queue. And every time a message was put on the storage queue, it actually got visualized in the Windows Form application. So that was pretty neat, right? So that's a proof of concept that we made. And you can actually fetch that right from GitHub. You can go to aki.ms/tdbunkpoc to get that code and see how we did that. And if you want a fully documented write-up of how we actually did all of the notification part, the geofencing, through Xamarin Forms, to Android, all that kind of stuff, go to aka.ms/tdebunk case study, and you can read the whole thing there, okay? So I'll give you 5 more seconds to take a look, take a screenshot or whatever. And also, please make sure to revisit the build session at Channel 9. There's a lot of cool sessions there. Hopefully this will be recorded and put there as well. And of course, please continue your education at Microsoft Virtual Academy Online. All right. So it's time for a demo. I didn't want to use too much time on slides because we're all developers. We love to see code, so that's what we're going to do now. So let's switch over to Visual Studio. Let's see if we can get that going. Here we are. All right. So the demo that I have actually consists of 2 parts. I have a push demo, which actually consists of the shared code base of the Xamarin Forms with the shared code base. And I also have another instance of Visual Studio, which actually works as the push demo server. So it's basically a ASP.NET Core application, which has a couple of endpoints. So if we're looking at the server first, this is what the Xamarin Forms application will be talking to. So let's actually just close this output real quick. And the first thing I want to show is that I have a using statement right here for Microsoft Azure Notification Hub. That's important, of course. Else you wouldn't be able to actually talk to the Notification Hub. And this Notification Hub handler creates a new instance of the notification. And it creates a new Notification Hub instance full with a shared connection string and a hub name. And this connection string right here, that's actually quite important because there is something called shared access key. And the shared access key has a default full shared access signature. And there are 2 types of access signatures. There's the listen one, and there's the fully shared one. Make sure in your API to have the fully shared one. Because if you have the fully shared one in the Xamarin Forms application, you'll be able to send notifications from that as well, which is not the proper way of doing stuff. So how do you actually get that? Well, you grab that from Azure Portal, of course. You go to the Notification Hub that you have created in the Azure Portal, and you scroll down to Access Policies. And once you're there, you should see the default listen shared and the default full shared access signature. Go ahead and copy that endpoint address and paste it in. Also, there's one more thing that's important since we are already in the portal. It's actually to set up the communication between the Azure portal and the Google Cloud Messaging, the Firebase, because that's what the Android device will be talking to as well. So you go into the notification services in the portal, in the Notification Hub instance. You click whatever service you want, which is, in this case, an Android device. So I'm going to go for Google Cloud Messaging. And here we have an API key. You need to grab this API key from the actual Firebase console. So you go into the Firebase console. You have already created an app. I have that from before, Build 2K17 demo. I click that. I go into the settings icon right here. I go to project settings. And I copy that web API key. That's the important part here. So this is the same key that I have here. All right? So go ahead and paste that, and then we should be good to go. So now they'll be talking together, which is good. This is what we want. So back to code. The next thing I want to show you is the actual interface that I have, which actually consists of the endpoints. So as you can see here, I'm using something called refit. And refit is a dependency, and it really simplifies calling each endpoint by actually creating an interface for me. And as you can see here, I have a couple of tasks. I have the route here, notification register. I have the begin, and I have the end. So those are the endpoints. So it's really quick, really simple. So I suggest using refit. And the next thing is actually the main page. This is, of course, all of it is inside the shared code base where I have all my business logic. And I have the targeted device as well. We'll be looking at this, that soon. But for now, let's look at the main page. This is where we're actually building the view of the Android application and the Xamarin Forms application. And if you scroll down, the important part is actually here. You can see here I have a link. And the thing with this link is that from the push demo server, I need to actually publish this. So I right-click push demo server, and I click publish. And once I click publish, I choose the ASP.NET, the web app that I have in Azure from before. So this is the running instance of the same push demo server with the endpoints running in Azure. So go ahead and copy that after it has been published and put that in the shared code database. So here we go. I have already done that. So this is the URL to my REST API. Down here, we're actually just calling the results of the REST API in a notification. You can see here that I have a button end and a button begin, of course, putting it on the screen. And I have the button begin clicked event. And that's it from the main page, really. From the main activity, however, now we are jumping over into the push demo targeted Android solution. And you can see here that I have the main activity, where I have a static, which basically means that I can just resume the application when I click dismiss or whatever it is on the notification itself. And I register it at the end with the Google Cloud Messaging. So now I'm starting to run this code right here. So I'm registering the device with the Google Cloud Messaging to request a new registration ID. So how do you actually do that? Well, I get the device ID from my device that I'm actually running my app on. And the device ID is actually the same as a MAC address, right? On a computer, you have your network card. You have your first, I don't remember the exact amount of digits, but those are towards the provider of the network card. And then you have a global unique identifier for that network card. Device ID is the same thing on a device. So I'm just grabbing that and saying, hey, this is the user. And I check whether this user has been using my service from before. And if it has, then sure, then I'll be just using that. If not, then I'm going to create a new list and just put that user in it. And then I have the broadcast receiver. And you can see here I'm using a lot of using statements. I'm using the Google Cloud Messaging Client, which is now called Firebase, Windows Azure Messaging, and Refit. All right, so those are the 3 important dependencies you need to make sure that you have if you are to replicate this demo. So if we go down to the push handler, we can see here that on registered, this method should successfully be called when I have opened the app. So when I open the demo later on now, I should see a message saying, hey, success, registered with Google Cloud Messaging. All right? So let's see if that's actually happening. So we will try to test that out later. And I'm also doing some error handling here. Since I'm only not connected to a database, I'm just using the users from a simple list. It's not that important for me to do proper error handling and stuff, because that would be a lot of code. So for the purpose of this demo, I'm just going to do some simple console write and just the message itself. And then I'm registering to the hub. Then again, the same REST API call. And then on message, this will be received when the Google Cloud Message is coming in. So you can see here that I'm grabbing the message. I still haven't sent the notification yet. I'm just grabbing the message, and I still haven't built the notification yet. So I'm grabbing the title, I'm grabbing the message, and I'm grabbing the event key. So what's actually the event key? Well, for instance, if you have a football team which has many different teams within that football team, for instance, under 18 team, under 17, under 16, all that kind of stuff, you could specifically target specific teams within that football team. For instance, I only want to send this notification to the under 16 team. And then you could put a specific event key for that. So for now, I'm just using one. And down here, I'm actually saying, hey, create me a notification. And I'm using the system action email icon. So I'm saying, OK, for every notification that I'm making, I want an email icon, simply, and with the title text on it. And then I'm actually building it and saying, hey, put in the title text, the message text, and the pending intent. And then I actually go ahead and show the notification with the event key. And the event key is just a notification ID itself. So here, in this handle notification event, this is actually where we will implement all of your business logic connected directly to one specific event key, okay? I only have a simple switch case because there's no use in having some complicated code just to have it. And then I'm actually displaying the pop-up with the title message here. So it will have two icons. It will have, two buttons. It will say OK or dismiss. And I'll be able to, on registered, see that this, on unregistered, sorry, that this Google Cloud Messaging device has now been unregistered. And of course, on recoverable error as well as on simple error. And I'm just going to print that out. And that's the simple stuff that we actually need to do the notification. So we have looked at the shared code base. We looked at the targeted Android device. We have looked at the main things that we need. We looked at the using statements that we need as well. And we have also looked at the targeted endpoints for the API as well and published that to a web app. So now it's actually just for me to fire up something called Visor and to show you the screen of my phone. So let's see here. I want to view the screen of my phone. So I have my phone connected here through a USB device. So I'm actually timing myself. How ironic would it be if I was above time when I'm actually talking about tracking time myself? So let's go back to the home screen. So let's go and deploy the application to the Android device. So I'm going to right-click the Push Demo Android and set that as a starter project. And then I'm going to click Deploy. So now it's actually deploying. So if I go back to Visor and I click View, I should soon see something popping up. So now it's deploying, it's building the package, and it's transferring to my USB cable over to my phone. And we should get a notification soon. So the idea of this demo is simply that now I'm replicating that I'm an employee, I'm walking towards my office, and when I step inside my office, the geofencing arrow will be triggered, and it will say, hey, start the timer. And I do my work. I don't know how long my shift is. I go back and step outside of the office, and it will automatically stop the timer and say, hey, I worked for X amount of hours, or whatever it is. So that's the purpose of the demo. So now it's actually deploying now. So let's see if I get the notification soon. Jon Henrik from DX Norway has published some messages in the group, WhatsApp. Simon, who is sitting right there, he says, I'm at build. So yeah, cool, Simon. Hey, Mom. And now, let's see if it deploys. It's building the package, and now it's deploying. Let's give it some time. OK, deploy once succeeded. So the debugging has started, and the app has launched, I think. Yep. So it says, all right, success, register device with Google Cloud Messaging. All right, that's a success. That's what we want. So we click OK, and I just clear all my notifications. So I clear that, and the idea is now I'm an employee, I'm going to work, and I step inside my office building, and now I'm just going to click Begin, as I did now, and it should say, OK, you now started work at whatever PM or AM or whatever. So see, I got a notification saying, hey, you started working at 12:18 a.m. And it's off timing because it's Norwegian time, since I deployed the app earlier on as well. But it works. So now it says that I'm signed in at work, so that's cool. So I didn't have to do anything, even though I did something right now. I would just have the cell phone with me all the time, do my work, and I step outside of the office, end of session. All right, so now I'm leaving home. And it should automatically give me a notification saying, hey, you are done for today. You have worked for X amount of seconds. So now it says 239 seconds. I should have snapped it to hours and all that kind of stuff, but the truth is I wouldn't be standing here for an hour having a session with you guys. So let's just remember 239 and show that this is no fake stuff. So I'll begin it again. I'll wait a couple of seconds. And I'll end it. And hopefully it should be above 240 seconds now. which it is. So it works, basically. So this is an autonomous way of actually tracking hours work, so it's pretty cool. And I suggest checking out the write-up that we did. Make sure to read the whole thing. It tells you how to do the whole stuff, how you can use the longitude and latitude, how it also visualizes the whole thing with the Windows Form application and puts the message on the queue and all that. So let's see how I'm doing on time. Oh, I'm actually 30 seconds past. Well, perfect then. Thank you for listening and enjoy the rest of build.